Howdy, howdy, y'all. It is another I Am That episode, chapter 89 Progress in Spiritual Life. So, a couple of just observations off the top, just for this, that I think makes this conversation interesting. I'm pretty sure this is the first one where we've had it's not the first one with two questioners. We've had at least couple other scenarios where there's two questioners. Once again, there's really no distinction. Like they never say questioner one versus questioner two, so you never really know technically like which is which. Um, I guess without the context. Um, I would say for this one, another what is interesting though, first, as far as I can tell, is that this is the first time we've had female questioners. From my understanding, I think they've all been male questioners up to this point. So that's just, you know, interesting aside. Um, doesn't I don't think that comes too much into play. Maybe with how they might be using like some terminologies and words and stuff. But like, I think other than that, it doesn't change. Like they don't really talk about gender or anything like that in this context. So it's not really anything useful in that way. It's just more of a fun observation about this conversation. In general, with this conversation, in terms of the meat and bones, it is pretty sparse. It's pretty much what you would expect, even though the chapter might sound weird, especially if for those more who've known about Maharaj, he's not really about that, sort of. He's much more of a now. Though he does take it to account that, the whole fruit ripening sort of thing, right? So that's pretty much kind of what this is really talking about. But he does talk about, because they kind of have this impression, these, girls, they have this impression, oh, we're just going to go to India because it's like this mystical land and we're going to learn because all these, spiritual people and blah, blah, blah. And, Nisargadatta Maharaj is just trying to explain to him, like, no, it's not really like that. Like, you just be enlightened, like, and spiritual. And, like, you don't even need, like, the culture, He's just trying to essentially kind of say, like, just be it, You are this thing. You are you are it. You are already it. You don't need all this, like, special stuff, blah, blah, blah. He does talk about, at one point, I thought a very interesting, I don't know how much of a cultural norm this still is in India, but he talks about, at one point, so the questioner, they say, I understand one must give up one's family and possessions to become a disciple. Maharaj, it varies with the guru. Some expect their mature disciples to become ascetics and recluses. Some encourage family life and duties. Most of them consider a model family life more difficult than renunciation, suitable for a personality more mature and better balanced. At the early stages, the disciple of a monastic life may be advisable. Therefore, in the Hindu culture, students up to the age of 25 are expected to live like monks in poverty, chastity, and obedience, to give them a chance to build a character able to meet the hardships and temptations of married life. And, that would be like, okay, that's cool and all. Sounds pretty normal for, like, especially a spiritual discipline, What to me is interesting is the particular age. And it's 25. Because, like, I don't know, like, because that is actually, as far as I understand, it's like the science to be right now. That is pretty much approximately, that's pretty much about when the human brain is what we might say fully developed, quote unquote. What we say is it's pretty much a fully adult, what we call a fully adult brain. So it's very interesting that they chose 25 because I'm assuming this is probably like a cultural thing that's been around for, especially if we talk about monks and stuff. This could be for thousands of years. So it's very interesting that sort of once again that sort of connection there and just like I say, it's to me I always do like when he talks about like aspects of the Hindu culture, because it's from a very just matter of fact sort of way. Because Nisargadatta Maharaj, you can just tell, even in this conversation, it's not like he doesn't put too much attachment, like even though it's his culture, like he's part of the Hindu culture, it's because he doesn't see himself as just like the Nisargadatta Maharaj. You know what I mean? He sees himself as everything. So he's very consistent in that way. Another point, the questioner. Each guru will refer to me his own guru. Where is the starting point? Because this is in context because Sigaram Maharaj talks about like how he came to be, and he came to be, through his own guru and just listening to what his guru had to say. And so, of course, the question is essentially, where does this start though? Because each guru refers back to their guru. So that makes sense, right? This is how Maharaj responds. There's a power in the universe working for enlightenment and liberation. We call it Sanda Shiva, or Sadashiva, who is ever present in the hearts of men. It is the unifying factor. Unity liberates. Freedom unites. Ultimately, nothing is mine or yours. Everything is ours. Just be one with yourself, and you will be one with all. At home in the entire universe. Questioner, you mean to say that all these glories will come with the mere dwelling on the feeling I am? Maharaj, it is the simple that is certain. Do not the complicated. Somehow people do not trust the simple, the easy, the always available. Why not give an honest trial to what I say? It may look very small and insignificant, but it's like a seed that grows into a mighty tree. Give yourself a chance. Like that's probably like my favorite part of this chapter. By the way, is the simple that is certain. That whole part, I love that. I love because that is something I feel for my own life. I've kind of going through. I have noticed that sometimes it is like the simple moments and simple little good habits and the things of that nature that can really, that can make or break a day. If a simple little good habit, I think can sometimes be the difference between, just having a mental breakdown and just keeping composure. So this, and so I don't know. I feel like that is kind of what Maharaj kind of relates to that point in a certain way, and it is. It's really people like that. We just, especially in the modern era, we've gotten to the point we love overcomplicating things. We love the complicated and what. And I get it because I've been a part of that too. So I can't, I can't really say anything regarding, like I'm part of it too. But at the same time, the simple is important. The simple is so fundamentally important. Uh, Another point is a funny little side comment. Um, the questioner, because the questioner is now asked, are you always available or do you have other work to do? Maharaj, I am always available, but the hours in the morning and late afternoon are the most convenient. Questioner, I understand that no work ranks higher than the work of a spiritual teacher. And this is the last thing he said in the entire chapter. The motive matters supremely. And so I just find it interesting. Once again, we have this chapter that doesn't end on this sort of like Maharaj talking this like big, kind of big lecture at the end. It seems like kind of much more abrupt. It just kind of ends. So that's why I found it interesting. Like this is like a very short, very very short chapter. But it's a good one. It's very good. I like it a lot. It's good to know the Sigaram Maharaj, doesn't really change how he talks depending on gender. So that's what I found really interesting too, because he does. You can tell he forms it like how and what he says towards people based on where they're at. But it's good to see. I didn't see necessarily anything in here where he's just like, oh, they're a woman. I gotta be more sensitive or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see anything like that. So kind of props to him for that. Honestly, props, because it's very easy to do that stuff. Anyways, another point I do want to end on, because like I say, like good chapter, very short. Nothing, like I say, in terms of the meat and bones here that's too out of the ordinary. It's pretty much like I say, another nail, another hitting the hammer on the nail. It's another him just hitting the point at home again. Like if you're just reading this book through, this would be another boom. Like trying to get these points across. Another interesting thing about this chapter is a picture. See that picture? It's Maharaj right in front of his house. So that's cool. I always like the pictures. I don't know who he's with. Maybe one of his disciples or whatever. I do like his attitude by the way with the disciples. He talks about in the book. He's like he doesn't. He's not. He's very. It's not very much like yes, these are my disciples. He's just very much like yeah, they're acting that way. So yeah, I guess they are. He's very nonchalant, very just kind of humble about everything. But that's what you would expect from a guru, right? So he definitely fulfills that part very well. And like I say, I think I'll just end it on that. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. Um, Hare Krishna, and peace be on y'all. So keep going.